All right, this is the graphing rational numbers homework. Take a look at number 1. It says, which ordered pair corresponds to point G? So if I go over to my graph and I'm looking for the coordinates of point G, since not all the numbers are labeled, I'm going to put a little -1 there and a +1 there just to help. So when you're doing a coordinate point, remember, it's going to be in parentheses. Your x coordinate goes first and then your y. So to get to point G, I have to go on the x-axis first. So to get there, I'm going to go -1 and then a little bit more. It's halfway between -1 and -2, which would be -1.5. All right, then you have to say, well, how many am I going to move up on the y-axis? So to get to point G, I only go up 1. So then you're going to come over to your list of choices, and that's going to be choice B. Take a look at number 2. For this part, you're going to plot and label the points on the coordinate plane. So I'm going to do the first one with you and then leave Y, Z, and W for you guys. So point X says 4.8, -5. Well, your graph doesn't have decimals on it, but I know I'm going to put a 5, a 3, and a 1. If I need to go to 4.8, I know that that falls between 4 and 5, so we're going to have to kind of estimate where that point is. 4.5 would be right in the middle, so 4.8 is going to be a little bit closer to 5, about right here. Then I have to go down 5. So -5 would be right here. So I'm going to put my dot and I'm going to label that with an X. Okay, you guys are going to do the rest of the dots. All right, you can pause, and then on the back it says the reflection of point -1.6, 3.3 across the x-axis is. Well, I would draw your ghost graph, and I would estimate where this point would be. -1.6, I would go to the left. +3.3, I would go up. So my point would fall here. Now, they're saying I'm going to jump across the x-axis. So first you have to identify where the x-axis is. I know x is left to right, y to the sky. So if I jump across the x, I'm going to go this way. So my new point would be right there. So remember, when you're writing a point and you're doing the reflection, the numbers are going to stay the same. So I'm going to keep 1.6 and I'm going to keep 3.3. You just need to determine what their signs will be. So if I start at 0, to get to this point, I'm still going to go negatives. So I'm still going to go -1.6. All right, and then I have to go down 3.3. So the second coordinate is also going to be negative. So you're going to do the same thing for the next one. I would draw yourself a graph, plot your point, and then this time you're going over the y-axis. All right, take a look at the next one. It says, what is the length of side AD? So look on your graph, find the letters AD. So that's going to be this side right here. Now you're going to have to determine where they start and where it ends. These points kind of fall right in the middle of the grid. So I'm going to first write out what those points are. So point A, to get there, I'm going to go over to -7. And I'm going to go down to 7.5. All right, so now to get to point D, I'm going to go over to -7, and I'm going to go up 2.5. Okay, so this scale is going by 1, so I'm going 1, 2, and then I go halfway up the box. So that's how I got 2.5. All right, so remember when you're finding distance, you ignore the coordinates that are the same. And I'm going to say, okay, well, from here to here, it's 2.5. And then from the x-axis down to A, it's another 7.5. So to get the total for that side, I would add 2.5 plus 7.5. So when I add those, remember, you have to line up your decimals, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that would be 10 blocks or 10 units. All right. This question says, Kevin is building an addition to a house. Use the following ordered pairs to draw a picture of the addition. So what you're going to do is you're going to plot each of these points. So I'll show you the first one. Point E is -3.5. So if you need to draw those additional numbers on there, go ahead and do that. So what I mean by that is where there's the blanks, you can fill in -1, -3. So I'm going to go, starting at the origin, I'm going to go -3.5, which would be right between -3 and -4. And then I'm going to go down to 4.5. So my first point is going to be right there, and I'm going to label that E. So here's -3.5. This was -5, so -4.5 is between -4 and -5. So you need to plot all 4 of those points. Then you can connect them to make the addition. And then it's asking you if each unit is equal to 10 feet, then what's the area of the addition? Okay, well, hopefully you remember that the area formula is length times width. So this is probably going to make a rectangle. So you're going to have to find the length of one side and the width, and then you can multiply those together. And you'll probably have to use the strategy that we used for the question above.